What's up everybody, OJ here, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the big 2020 Nintendo Switch titles before the incoming Nintendo Direct that we're probably going to be getting sometime before the end of March based on the recent rumors that we've gotten. So let's go ahead and get right into this, and we'll start off with the games that we know for sure are coming for 2020 and Nintendo has detailed and shown off trailers for, and that is Animal Crossing New Horizons. This game is launching this week, upcoming, finally. Animal Crossing is going to be here. I'm very excited for this game, and I'm not going to waste a ton of time talking about it because Nintendo already put out a big Animal Crossing New Horizons Direct that had so much cool information in there, and I already talked about it in multiple different videos, but there's a lot of really cool things in this game that I'm looking forward to. The online multiplayer, in terms of having the whole friends option and codes option. Local multiplayer too is cool. I call that the relationship fixer. And then also the terraforming that's in the game. Being able to mold your town exactly the way that you want. I absolutely love the style and the flavor that they're going for when it comes to Animal Crossing New Horizons. Really looking forward to that game. Coming out on March 20th here. Now next up is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. If I could make a video on Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition every single day, I would do that, but there's not enough information, so I'm really hoping at this next Nintendo Direct that we get, that there's just like a ton of information about Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, enough for me to make multiple videos on leading up to the launch of it. But we do know that it's going to be a 2020 game, and it is a remake, guys. Remake, not a remaster or port of the original. It is a remake, and it's very clear to see that when you simply compare the footage, or if you've just played the first game, then play this one and look at it. Well, nobody's played it yet, but if you just look at it, obviously remake in there. So very excited to get my hands on Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, one of the best RPGs ever made. Now next up is a game that's kind of fallen by the wayside a bit, even though it had a banging trailer for the Game Awards, and that is No More Heroes 3. We haven't heard a ton of information outside of that trailer, but this looks like Travis Touchdown's trippiest, most weirdest, most coolest, most brashest, most ambitious title ever. And I think it will be, considering it's the first one that's not made from like a port on an HD system. So for example, the first No More Heroes that was ported over to the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, but that was based on the Wii game. No More Heroes 2 never got re-released on any other system. So this is its first true HD debut, in my opinion, being built for an HD system. It's been a long time, what, decade since the last one or something like that. So really excited for No More Heroes 3 and seeing all the zany characters and people that Travis is going to fight against. I can only imagine what is going to be happening in this game, especially with the dialogue. But let's go ahead and get into some of these other games. Now, once again, there's going to be a Direct at some point, right? And they're going to detail a lot of other big games, and we'll have updates, but this is just what we have before the big Direct is coming. Now next up is a game that you might not think is a big game, but I'm actually thinking this game is going to be pretty good, and that is Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. It was actually supposed to come out last year, and Nintendo talked about this game, I think even at E3. They had a nice trailer for it and everything, and it actually looks really cool. Now I wanted to talk about this because this game is a forthcoming title from Edelweiss, a basically two-man team behind the acclaimed indie darlings such as Asta Breed, which is an anime-styled mech shoot 'em up. Now in Sakuna of Rice of Ruin, it combines side-scrolling action with some deep crafting and farming simulation. So players can take on the role of Sakuna, a spoiled harvest goddess banished to a dangerous island with a group of outcast humans. As she explores the beautiful forbidden environments of the island, she will also find a home in a mountain village, proving herself worthy of the title by harvesting rice and bettering the lives of humans. in addition to being a fresh take on Japanese mythology and a love letter to action games. Sakuna of Rice and Ruin is an ode to rice and an engrossing simulation of the craft behind the agriculture. So this game is actually looking pretty cool. I'm not really too much into these type of farm type of simulators, right? Like you have like Stardew Valley and stuff like that. Those games are cool, but this one just caught my eye because of the nature of the game. I don't know. So look out for this one here too, guys. This game is going to be released in 2020. It's supposed to come out last year, but it's coming out this year. Looks like they're going to take some extra time to polish up the game. Now, next up is a game that I know is going to be absolutely phenomenal, and that is Bravely Default 2. This is a game that is a highly anticipated RPG from the Square Enix developers, and what makes Bravely Default 2 to me a game that I think that is really going to surprise people is because the first trailer didn't really show much. So if you didn't play the Bravely Default series, which that is a series that didn't have a huge amount of acclaim on the Nintendo 3DS in terms of sales wise, right? So it didn't sell huge numbers, but it definitely sold enough. I think the first game sold over 1 million units and the second game sold nearly that. So this is a series that's got in the hands of players, but it wasn't like a Mario or other type of series where just so many people know about it. So I think this one's going to surprise people once they start showing off the combat, once they start putting in all of the different elements, because the graphics obviously aren't going to be as in-depth as some of Square Enix's other games that we're seeing, right? So people are looking at it like, well, why should I be excited about this? But when you play the game, that's what makes Bravely Default absolutely amazing, especially if you like a game like Octopath Traveler. So this is a brand new game in the Bravely Default series. It is more of a follow-up to the first game and not Bravely's second end layer. So you travel the world in search of the four crystals with the latest incarnation of the brave band known as the Heroes of Light. So they're continuing with that theme, and it's the latest creation from Team Asano, the creators of the Bravely series and Octopath Traveler, of course. You have a brand new world filled with new characters, but with the atmosphere and excitement the Bravely series is known for. So really excited for this one, and I think that it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I 100%ed Bravely Default on the 3DS, 100%ed Bravely's second and later on the Nintendo 3DS. Bravely Default, the first game, is absolutely amazing. Bravely second improves some things in some regards, but kind of goes back and loses some of its charm from the first game. So it looks, even just based on this first trailer, it looks like they're bringing back that style and the flow from the first game. And of course they have Revo. The music's back to what it was, because in the second game they didn't have the first composer, and that was a bad decision. So really excited for this one as well. That's coming in 2020, going to be exclusive to Nintendo Switch, probably going to be published by Nintendo here in the West. So next up is a game that kind of fell off the radar. People haven't been talking about it, but it is coming, and that is Rogue Company. This is a little bit of a different style of game than what you normally see. So Rogue Company, essentially what this game is about is that with an arsenal of mercenaries, guns, abilities, and game modes, there's always something to master. Rogue Company is a top secret syndicate of elite mercenaries around the globe. To most of the world, the elusive mercenaries are a rumor at best. However, to those in the know, Rogue Company operatives are indispensable to solving the world's deadliest and most challenging missions. As a Rogue Company mercenary, players will grab their weapon of choice and dive into iconic locations to compete online in various PvP game modes. Group up with friends and dominate the competition. Rogue Company will feature cross-play and cross-progression across all platforms. So this game is really kind of pushing the bar here. You have cross-progression and cross-play. So I think for a lot of people who own multiple consoles, or even just being able to play with different friends, but just saying, hey, if I want to have my portable version on the Nintendo Switch, I can play that on the go. Then when I want to have my home console version, I can play it on my PS4, my Xbox One, PC, Epic Game Store, whatever the case is. So I love what they're doing here. I really like what they're doing here, and it's coming 2020. I think it's up to 10 players per match on here, and it looks really cool. And the game's actually already been demoed on the Nintendo Switch. I know it was first shown off at a Nintendo Direct, and it's already been demoed on there, and it runs and looks good. So I'm excited for what they're building here with Rogue Company to kind of have that online multiplayer action, bringing more of those style of games to the Switch. So that one's looking pretty good as well. Now next up is a game that I've talked about quite a bit, and I know you guys are gonna love this, but Trials of Mana. Obviously this is a classic, being reborn, full 3D graphics, all of the nooks and crannies and different areas and locations have just been beautifully rendered to fit the modern day. And honestly, it's one of those games, since it never got an original release here in the West back when it first launched, it was one of those long lost games that people have been wanting and been wanting and been wanting. And I think Square Enix went above and beyond the Call of Duty when it comes to bringing this game back, because not only did they bring it to the Mana collection, or the collection of Mana, which was great, but they remade the game to kind of make up for it. And I think that this is really just that. It's to make up for the lost time. This is what we deserve. We deserve this one, and I cannot commend Square Enix enough, because they honestly could have just released it in the collection and just said, all right, there you go, you finally get the game, and people would have just been like, okay, well, I guess it's all good, even though you released it 20 years later or whatever. But they actually remade the game and put it out. That is phenomenal. I think this game is going to do very, very well when it launches. Some people have talked to me though about stripping out the multiplayer from the original base game, and yes, that's true, but they probably, and this is just me getting into Square Enix's mind, they probably, in terms of time and money to program all of that in, and for what they're charging for this, it's not 60, it's 50. I can kind of see that they were like, you know what, let's just not worry about that. Let's just get a great remake of the game, single player, and not have to take extra time in terms of everything with that. So unfortunate on that end, but at the same time, look at all the stuff that's being added. It really is an amazing remake of the original game. Now, next up from that is a game that we were supposed to see quite a while ago, right? And that is Panzer Dragoon Remake. Like, where's the game? Well, I know where the game is. It's still being in development here because, of course, who's handling the licensing? Sega. They can't make it themselves. They had to license it out. Forever Entertainment is taking care of this one as the publisher, which was licensed to them because Sega's being Sega. And so they're taking their time to make sure that this game runs well, looks well, plays well, and is going to be the best remake that it can be, because it is one of those classic niche franchises being brought back in a new way, and this can be a springboard to get more Panzer Dragoon games remade, or more of them ported, or more of them just made new games in general. And I think that this is a very important game for the future of the Panzer Dragoon franchise. It needs to do well. So I think that if you need to take some extra time to make sure that the game is amazing, which they're definitely doing at this point, then no problem here. Because if this game sucks, or if it's not a solid remake of the original, that could just be it, right? There could be no more opportunities for this because Sega licensed it to Forever Entertainment. They didn't even want to do it themselves normally. So we're all looking at this. Everybody is. Sega is, Forever, the fans. How's the response going to be? So take the time, make sure you get it right, and I think that it's going to be a really good game once they just get everything done and show it off. So it's going to be single player. The game is looking pretty good so far from what they've shown us before, but we're going to have to wait for the updates on this one, but I am looking forward to it. Now, next up is a game that doesn't have a 2020 release date. Apparently, it's still to be decided, but Hollow Knight Silksong. People are really looking forward to this game. I mean, Hollow Knight's one of those games that when I look at it, when I played it, because I played it back then, and it's like a Metroidvania style game. It's made by like 3 people or something like that. You don't expect it to be really anything amazing. And then when you start playing, you realize like, wow, this game is really, really, really good. And I definitely have to get back into Hollow Knight. It was so funny. I played Hollow Knight. I streamed it for like 2 or 3 hours, thought it was amazing, and then just never went back to it. I don't even know why. And now Silksong is going to be coming out probably sometime this year, and I want to get back into it because Silksong looks absolutely phenomenal. It looks just so good. I think I need to finish Hollow Knight, the original, and then I need to get into Silksong when this game drops, probably sometime in 2020. Now, for the last 2 games here, guys, we're going to go into some potential 2020 launches. These aren't confirmed for 2020, but I think that they have a shot. There's 2 games, and that is Shin Megami Tensei 5, which was shown off way too early because guess who does that? Atlas, of course. They show off their games really early and then just take forever to get them out. But I think Shin Megami Tensei 5 and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. So let's just start with Shin Megami Tensei 5. That game, once again, showed off in 2017, January, back at Nintendo's reveal for the Switch, where they go off on more information and all that. They showed off a bunch of games. I still think that it's going fine. People talk about this like, oh, it's vaporware, it's all this development hell. That's not the case. They're just really working on this. Is just what Atlas does. Atlas just takes a long time for their games, but really, in honesty, if they started working on it in 2018, which they said, they announced it in 2017, so it was pre-production. 2018 when they really started getting going. This is just normal development time for a game, and you don't have to see the game every single day or every single 4 or 5 months in order to think think that the game is going well. Like, they can take their time on developing it. So they just announced it a bit too early, but this is definitely normal development time. If full production was 2018, I mean, it takes about, what, 2-3 years for the game? Bam, it's out in 2020 at some point. So I still think that it's coming. I think 2020 is probably going to be the year. This reminds me also of Tokyo Mirage Sessions in some ways, not in terms of how the game is and what happened to that game, but just how long. But I do think 2020 is it, and it's going to be shown off at a Nintendo Direct at some point. I don't know if it's going to be the upcoming Direct that we all know is coming, but maybe E3 or even the Fall Direct, but at some point there's going to be something where they show this off. And then the next game is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, or the sequel. Obviously, there's just like so much stuff with this game, right? Everyone's talking about this game, and this could be a massive seller. I mean, we could see 15 to 20 million units of this game sold in the first month. Considering what Breath of the Wild means to the Switch, I think this one would even be more hyped than that game. And there's just so much more Switch systems. If Nintendo could somehow get that game finished, and that is the big title for this year, that would be crazy. Now, once again, guys, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I think a lot of people feel that it's going to be a 2021 title, but you never know with Nintendo. That's the thing. You never know what they're going to be doing. And if you look at it, 2017 is when they were finished pretty much with everything with Breath of the Wild, right? So if they started working on it around that time period, then that would be 3 years. And I think with the same engine, kind of just using that, and what they showed us, having a full cutscene kind of built in there, looking already really good. I mean, I think they're probably farther along in this game than people think that they are. So Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, that could be it. So that wraps it up for my big board for 2020. I probably missed a few games. That's okay. That's why I have you guys here. You guys let me know what other big games for the Nintendo Switch you're looking forward to in 2020. What are some potential games you think could be coming up? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the link in the description. We've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a follow there for the latest gaming information and news. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.